You've saved for decades, invested prudently, and now you're ready for retirement. You are thrilled. You're finally there, or it's just around the corner. But what did you forget? There might be a missing piece that you haven't considered yet. I've watched hundreds of people retire, and this is the most common thing that I see retirees miss. That's what we're going to be talking about today. The problem I see retirees often do is they only focus on the financial side of things. They've thought about their retirement, they've thought about how much they need to invest, how much they need to save. Maybe they've started to think about tax planning if they're a little more advanced. How am I going to reduce taxes in retirement? And maybe they've started to think about their estate plan. And if we're lucky, they reviewed their insurance coverages recently to make sure that they're up to date to protect everything that's happened. But even with all that, even with considering everything from the financial aspect, they're still forgetting something. What is it? We're going to talk about that in a moment, but I want you to think about choosing a destination for travel. You get in your vehicle, and let's say this is a road trip. You get in your vehicle, it's all packed up, you've done all the planning, you're excited, you start to hit the road, you spend all day driving, and you're looking forward to getting there. Problem is, you just got there, but you haven't done any planning for what you're actually going to do when it arrives. That is what I see people miss in retirement. They don't actually think about the question, what will I actually do in retirement? What will my day-to-day look like? Without a clear idea, it can be really challenging. It can feel disconnected. You can feel a loss of purpose, a loss of identity, a loss of yourself, essentially. That you spend all this time at work, and there's people who need you or need your work. There are deadlines. There are things moving you forward. There might be learning, or there might be mentoring. There's lots of things to keep you engaged on a daily basis. The problem is, once you hit retirement, that all goes away. That's not there anymore because you don't have that structure, and you can structure your day any way that you want. But a lot of people struggle with that because they haven't thought about the question, what am I actually going to do between the hours of 8 and 5 or whatever you were replacing for work previously? And there's one reason I love when people do part-time work in early retirement, just to ease that transition and make it a little more palatable. That might not be for you. It's not for everybody. But I've noticed for people who do that, it sort of eases them, and it's a transition into occupying your day, as opposed to one day I'm working 48 hours a week or more, and then I can do anything I want with my day. Again, that can be a challenge. I want to walk you through some exercises that you can try to help you start thinking about retirement. Maybe you're already there and you're struggling with this question, or maybe it's 5 years away and you want to be prepared for it starting today. One thing that you can do is write down your ideal day, week, and year. And this can be challenging because a lot of people have not had this flexibility in life, but spend some time. Grab a cup of coffee, lunch, whatever you enjoy doing, do that during this activity, and just think, if I could wake up and I could do anything right now, what would I do? What would my mornings look like? What would my lunchtime look like? What would my afternoons? What about my evenings? Maybe you've only been able to exercise really early in the morning and you prefer to do that in the evening, or vice versa. Maybe you want to grab a cup of coffee at your local coffee shop every day because you don't get to do that during work hours. Maybe you want to play in your garden during certain times of the year. When you start thinking about the year, what can you do with that? What about your week? Maybe you don't have to go grocery shopping on Sunday or Saturday. Maybe you could do that on a Tuesday. I know, wild, just to think about that. But it's those types of things where you can really start to think about, what do I want my day to look like? What do I want my week? And what do I want my year to look like? Maybe now with the seasons, you can travel at different times or travel for longer periods of time. There's a lot more flexibility, so spend some time thinking about it. Once you've started to write down your ideal day, week, and year, think about hobbies that you've wanted to try. So make a list, and maybe you just do a mind map here where you write down the first thing that comes to mind, and then where does that go? And then where does that go from there? Or maybe you're thinking about this and then this. So this could be things like cooking, playing music. Maybe it's guitar or piano. Maybe it's taking some sort of class. I don't know what it is for you, but write down hobbies that you always want to try. I find when I talk with a lot of people, they think, hey, that would be really fun. I would enjoy doing that, or at least I think I'd enjoy doing that, but they're never able to have the time, or they're never able to make the time to go do that. From there, explore classes, and this could be something that you maybe do before everything else, so you're not quite sure what you want to do. A lot of people have local community colleges with classes for adults or people who aren't necessarily trying to take it for credit, but just want to learn. I know here locally, you have a wide variety of classes: woodworking, cooking, you name it, it's there. I've seen other local community colleges where you can audit classes that maybe you're not getting credit, but you can actually join students in the class and audit them to give feedback, and you do almost everything. You're just not getting credit for the class. I've seen people really enjoy that. So research in your local area what is offered, and does anything come to mind? Maybe sign up for it on a whim and see what happens. And finally, explore any leagues. I find a lot of people get enjoyment out of movement. So when we talk about sports or exercise, maybe there's a local golf course that you can join, and there's a round of golf that you can play every day on Wednesday. Or maybe there's a local basketball league that plays Friday mornings. Local tennis club. There's lots of different options here, lots of classes or leagues that are available oftentimes in your local area that you're just not aware of because they meet at hours that you're not able to while you're working. So once you're done with these exercises, from there, you can start to explore a little bit further. If any of this is resonating with you, click that like button. This tells YouTube that this is a great message and you want other people to hear it as well. Once you have your hobbies and other things you'd like to explore, make sure that you're looking after your social interaction time. And I know that sounds strange, but again, you're around people every single day because of work. Now, you may like being around those people or you may not. I don't know. But setting up social interaction time is good. So we can call this whatever we want. Maybe it's just being around people. Maybe it's not the interaction portion. Maybe it's just the social portion. But we want to be around people. We want to create community. So whether this is a friend that you meet a few times a week for coffee, maybe it's a standing lunch date with a friend. It could be a wide variety of things. I've often seen people go for walks with people regularly. Maybe there's a local park there, gets you out in nature, gets you moving. It also fulfills that social time as well. Or join a class with someone. Maybe you're not inclined to go by yourself, but if there's another person committed to it as well, that will make it more likely for you to go. And finally, start thinking about the big things that you've wanted to do in life. And I mean, those sort of impossible things that you thought, hey, never in a million years would I get to do this. Now's the time to start dreaming about that. So that might be a month in Europe. Maybe you thought, hey, I can never take a month off work. I'd always have something to worry about, but now I can. What would that look like? What would slow travel look like, where you're not trying to fit in every single thing that you want to do? Travel is one of those things where I find a lot of retirees enjoy that in early retirement while they're still healthy, they're able, they have the money, and they can go do that freely without worrying about a bunch of stuff at home. Maybe that big thing is volunteering. Maybe you felt guilty while working because you never had the time, but now you'd like to make that a regular part of your life. Explore what is in your local area or some things that you wanted to do. Maybe it's international volunteering. I don't know. There's a lot of different options. Also met people that simply just want to grow a garden. And I know that seems simple and basic, but when you're working, maybe the last thing that you want to do is be responsible for one more thing. So these are just a few ideas. I know you have your own, so sit down and think about it. What are those big things that you've always wanted to do that always felt a little daunting, a little scary, but would be really fun and enjoyable to go out and try and do? Once you've got those big things, those social interactions, the different things that you want to do in retirement that you've started thinking about, write down the next smallest step that would get you there. And I mean the smallest. Maybe it's a calendar reminder to do XYZ. Maybe it's just looking for what's in my local area. Maybe it's telling a friend to help keep you accountable. Well, what's that next small step to get you to actually go accomplish those? So this video just doesn't go in one ear and then out the other. What actually makes it a reality? I know people who have retired with millions of dollars who felt very secure financially, but because they haven't answered this question, what will I actually do in retirement, they've struggled. I've seen anxiety, I've seen depression, I've seen aimlessness and people wandering, just trying to figure out what do I do now? How do I find purpose in this life? Because I don't have my work anymore. And that was very fulfilling for them and they don't necessarily want to go back, but what comes next for them? Also know people on the other side who have far fewer resources, but they have that community engagement. They have social interaction on a daily or weekly basis that they really enjoy and find fulfillment in. Maybe they're a mentor for someone, they're learning, they're creating, they've taken on art and other things, and they're really enjoying life, but they don't have the same resources as that other person. So answering this question can be a big help as you transition into retirement. I'd love to hear from you. In one word, what do you want your retirement to feel like? Please type it in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.